This ain't no echo chamber. We're unlocking any chain. The devil's advocate speaking, cutting through the fog. Let us explain. Yeah.
Pull up, turn the volume, let the bass ignite. Devil's advocates, that's the channel. Together we fight. They ain't here to echo what the masses preach. They challenge beliefs, putting truth within reach. Flip the script, reverse the lens, ain't no fear to provoke. Unpopular opinions, watch the stagnant water smoke. They dissect the narrative, poke holes in the facade. Sharpening the mind, ain't no truth they'll disregard.
This ain't no echo chamber. We're unlocking any chain. Devil's advocate speaking, cutting through the fog. Let us explain.
See, the description hit hard, that's the blueprint to code. Not everyone likes it, but that's the path they strode. Challenging beliefs, that's the mission to aim. Flipping tables on conventional, fanning intellectual flame. Stepping opposing view, not for conflicts embrace, but to sharpen the blade of truth. Leave no logical trace of error or bias or thoughts that just float. They dig to the core, let the arguments bloat with substance and reason, not just empty retort. They building up thinkers, a mental fortress of fort.
This ain't no echo chamber. We're unlocking any chain. Devil's advocate speaking, cutting through the fog. Let us explain.
You don't go by always being right, that's a stagnant pool. Growth comes from questioning, breaking every rigid rule. Honest conversations, bold questions, a few uncomfortable facts. They lay it all bare, no turning back, no looking back. Seeking clarity or good debate, either way you win. They push you to understand where your own thoughts begin. So hit that subscribe button, let the knowledge unfurl. The devil's advocates,
Changing your whole world.
yeah, it might make you squirm, but that's how you transcend. Listen to the devil's advocates till the very end.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Hey, Robin you got top billing there for a second. I just gave Robin the microphone and gave her the all control, and her face was up there. Well, I wish it was a thumbnail, but I hope you didn't get scared crap. I apparently don't have my stuff laid out very correctly. So let me make sure Robin is added in a way that I can actually hear Robin. Robin, are you there?
I am here. Hello, everyone.
I can't get I'm all flustered and flabbergasted. So I put you up on stage and I'm like, what the shit? I can't even get myself on stage. Just wanted to say hi to everybody tonight, and we're going to do a little different show. There's going to be quite a bit of things that are different. In fact, one of the things that's going to be different is we got somebody sitting backstage, and they don't know exactly probably how this works, but everything me is sitting backstage, and you won't be able to talk to me, everything me. So you're going to wait for a minute until I bring you on stage for that kind of conversation. We're going to take care of some news. We're going to talk care of some, so it's kind of talk about the overview of how things are going to go tonight. I'm going to put Robin kind of off screen. You're still there, disembodied sound, right, Robin?
I am.
Okay, so at least that's going correctly at the moment. All right, so what I want to talk about is how we're always changing things up a little bit. Let me see, I kind of remove that, add that. There you go. So I got these little slides to remind me to keep things on pace. So this is my welcome to tell you a little bit about how we're changing things up a little bit. I'm constantly tweaking the format. I realize, for example, a lot of times I'm just a talking head that just sits there and speaks at you all night long, and there's not a lot of stuff going on. So I'm trying to add some slides and some punch, maybe a little bit of graphic. I even have a video at some point to play tonight. We'll see how that goes. YouTube is super sketch with the amount of censorship that they allow. So if I play more than 2 seconds of somebody's video, I got to pause and I got to play it again and I got to pause, or I get copyright strikes and all that shit. So I don't know. Birdie gets away with it. So we'll see if I can get away with it as well. Let's see, what else can I tell you a little bit? I just want to get my slides kind of moving through. One of the things, so I'm telling you about what's different, which is again, the slides, the format. I'm going to have a call in. Like I said, I already decided earlier in the night, I was going to have this say, hey, at the very beginning, if you want to come on, because it's usually a small, intimate crowd, I don't pull in the numbers that some of the big channels do. And so it's a very small, intimate crowd. And so because of that, I thought, why not roll the dice and bring a random person in? Isn't that great on the graphics, by the way? Anyways, to bring a random person in, not random, somebody who follows the show, right? And so I was going to say at the very beginning, hey, if you want to come on and you have the stones to, get on the microphone, because a lot of people are nervous about it, let me know. Send me an email address. We'll invite you. Everything Me basically was talking to me earlier. And by the way, Everything Me has kind of earned the right? Or he's earned the right to say some things. He's dropped literally hundreds of dollars on this channel. So he's earned the right to come up here and say his piece. And so we're going to have a little conversation on camera for that. Of course, I tell you this, I've spoken to Everything Me before in private on a phone call. The guy, while very vocal about what he believes, is super respectful. When I say my piece, that man holds his mouth and he lets me say my piece until I'm done. So it might be a little spirited between Everything Me and I. We'll see how that goes, but the man does show respect. And so I believe that this will be a good conversation. And I think you can get an opposing viewpoint tonight on some things. Now, hang out a little bit, Everything Me, because I want to get through a little bit of business before I bring you up. So let me talk about my cases a little bit. I'm going to cover the 5 cases that I cover, which one of them will be Charlie Kirk, and Everything Me will talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. And then I'm going to do a deep dive into this case in particular for a good portion of the evening, because there's some great stuff that I wanted to share. I just dropped a couple of big stories on Mickey Stein's a legal document that we read. It was actually in a related case. So Mickey Stein's, if you're not familiar with it, just briefly, is the sheriff in Kentucky, well, former sheriff, because he actually resigned after he shot and killed Judge Kevin Mullins in his chambers on screen. So that sheriff right there literally was seen on camera. There's no question who pulled the trigger. That's a video right there. We won't show it, but that is literally the moment before Mickey Stein's shoots the judge in his chambers. In the upper corner, you see Sheriff Stein's with his daughter in the back of a squad car singing a cute little song. I Shot the Sheriff, ironically enough, was this one. The story behind this, while, and this is a lesson to me. This is a lesson in don't jump to judgment. Because if you look at this video, it's like, there's no question what happened. That man shot that man. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. That is murder. Is it murder? Is it temporary insanity? Is it self-defense? How can it be self-defense? Well, if you read the legal documents and you see what was happening in that whole courthouse and in that whole jurisdiction and that whole county, it's ridiculous. And we're going to show some of that on the deep dive of what's going on in that county. And so it's not as easy to tell by just the first blush sometimes on what's going on. Rex Heuermann is another case of mine we covered. That is the alleged, and I like to say alleged because I believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law, and this man has not started his trial. So Rex Heuermann is allegedly the Long Island serial killer. He may, according to some people, have hundreds of bodies to his count. He may have been killing women for 30 years, not just in New York, but possibly other states as well, other cities, other states. Maybe one of the most prolific killers that we have had in our country. And they are right now putting him on trial for 7 different murders. They literally just stopped counting bodies because they said every time we come up with another body, we have to have new discovery and we have to go through that, and we will never end. We will never end this case if we keep waiting for all the bodies of Rex Heuermann to go forward. So they're going to go with 7. Now, an interesting side piece real quick about that is the defense was trying to argue that's unfair to Rex Heuermann to have all 7 at the same time. I talked to Ali Benevento on my I don't need to have that thumbnail. I could go to a little larger thing. So I had Ali Benevento, an attorney, would come on and talk to me about the Rex Heuermann case a little bit. And I asked her the point. I said, at some point, there's a known thing where juries, if they're overwhelmed with evidence, they tend to just check out and convict. Because at some point, a jury says, if you've got that much information on a guy, he must be guilty. If you can talk for 3 months and tell me that I've got 3 months of telling you what the case is, then he must be guilty, and I'm checked out. I don't need to hear anymore. You've talked for 3 months. He must be guilty, and so they convict. So is that fair to him? I don't know. I feel personally that there's an interesting part of this story that I'm not convinced that Rex Heuermann killed all 7 of the people that he's being accused of. I don't think he's a good guy necessarily, but he has the presumption of innocence till proven guilty. But I have reasons to believe that Rex Heuermann didn't kill all 7 of those individuals. The MOs are completely different for 3 or 4 of them. The difference between bodies that are dumped in a body bag versus bodies that are chopped up and distributed in body parts all over the island seem completely different. And I think that's possibly the evidence of multiple killers. But he's going to be charged with all of them as one lump sum. So that's an interesting case. If you haven't been following that, by the way, again, tooting my horn a little bit, I got an opportunity to interview attorney John Ray. I'm going to be seeing him in a couple weeks in his office in New York. He represents the families of Shannon Gilbert. She was one of the first people that disappeared, that started the whole search for Shannon Gilbert, which then led to the discovery of the Gilgo 4 bodies, which then led to more bodies, which led to the Lisk, Long Island serial killer. Started out as the Gilgo 4 and then turned into the Long Island serial killer because bodies were found all strewn apart along Long Island. So had a great interview with John Ray. If you haven't seen it, you should check that out. It's in a playlist for Lisk, for Long Island serial killer, and you can see that interview as well. And again, I'm going to be seeing John here shortly in his office for the first time face to face. That'll be very cool. Brian Koberger's case in Idaho 4 is another one I've been covering. I got a massive amount of videos on Idaho 4, and I will tell you this: the difficulty I have is I realize a whole bunch of content creators are still all over Idaho 4 and they're not stopping talking about it. And I realize this isn't going to be the most popular thing to say, but in my opinion, once Brian Koberger pled guilty, and I realize there will never ever be a trial in this case, it's essentially over. We can talk about it all day long, every day until we're blue in the face, but that case is essentially over. The man pled guilty. So how can I stand here and continue to presume his innocence until proven guilty in a court of law when he has pled guilty? So now here's the thing. That does not mean that I don't think that people in this country do plead guilty for things they didn't do, but that's an argument I can't make, right? I can't make that all day long, every day. I just can't. So that's the reason why we're kind of, I'm putting that on hold. And now new documents are coming out, right? And they dumped a whole bunch of horse shit on us for months of documents that are so redacted that it was almost pointless to have released them. Now they're releasing the same documents, taking some of the redactions out, and it's still a waste of our time. It's not telling us anything new. It's like they're wasting everyone's time. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are still all over that, like white on rice and a paper plate and a cold cup of milk in a snowstorm, as Major Payne would say. So that's a reason why you're not seeing a lot from me. But trust me, if I see something new, if the Innocence Project, for some of you think the Innocence Project is going to pick this up and Koberger is going to file some kind of thing, if that happens, I will be all over that case again. But in the meantime, he's pled guilty. What more do you want to do? Like, it's hard. And I'm listening. By the way, after 2 years, there's still new names coming out. I think so-and-so did it, but there will never be a trial. And so there's why me beating the dead horse and why I'm not spending a lot of time on it. But I understand people want me to still comment on it. Tyler Robinson is the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk. And remember, Ali Benevento, I just talked about this. The judge in this case, Tony Graff, I think was his name, made an amazing statement, which is that you must remember Tyler Robinson has the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. I 100% agree with that statement. That judge did, as Ali Benevento said, that judge didn't have to say that. So kudos for the judge having the stones to remind people in this country, you have the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. Everybody's already got Tyler Robinson strung up, and they already think they know everything about Tyler Robinson. They know everything that happened in that case. This case is insane with the media blitz that's happening and the theories that are out there. And by the way, we're going to have a little part. Everything me's not going to like this part. We're going to have a little part at the end where we're going to talk about a conspiracy theory on the Charlie Kirk situation. I'm just going to address what it is. I'm going to talk about it. Everything's like, fuck, no, you're not going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. Everything me. I'll give you your chance to talk. And so we're going to go past that. Luigi Mangione is the last case that I really cover. Is there a ding? What do you got, Robin? Sorry.
Well, we have someone new with us tonight. Noelle, this is the first time they're here with us tonight.
Noelle, thank you so much for coming. And Robin's been like ringing the hell of the bell. And I was like, why does she keep doing that? Like I just forgot what our entire format was. Robin, I forgot what our entire format was. Noelle, thank you so much for doing that. I like to highlight new people. By the way, I didn't even notice if you guys were like, I see, I'm not good at the whole saying hi to everybody, and I'm not going to go back and retroactively do it now. I'm just going to get better in the future. So anyways, Noelle, when we have somebody new on the screen, we like to accentuate them. So if you have a question, please let it know, and then she'll ring the hell out of the bell and get my attention. Let me know that our new person has a question, and I'll bring that up. All right. So Luigi Mangione, last thing I'm going to say, and before we get into the deep dive, that's where I'm going to have everything I'm going to have everything come up before we do the deep dive on the Mickey Steins, because we're going to talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk and things like this. What I was going to say about Luigi Mangione is I didn't give really an update on his case. Right now, Luigi Mangione's the big thing in Luigi Mangione's case is that his attorney, well, first of all, the judge in the state case against Luigi Mangione dismissed the charges of terrorism. So the murder in the first degree and furtherance of an act of terrorism has been removed. The judge did make a statement that this was not rising to the level of terrorism, and therefore that is inappropriate charge. And so that has been removed in that case. So that leaves second degree murder in the state case. And then we have the federal case. Now, the federal case doesn't have what you would call first degree and second degree murder. What the federal case has is it has aggravating circumstances. So Luigi Mangione is accused of murder with aggravating circumstances. Those aggravating circumstances allow the federal government to go after Luigi Mangione for the death penalty. So the next move of the attorney, Karen Agnifilo, on the federal case is to say death penalty should be taken off the table. Luigi Mangione's civil liberties have been violated at least 4 times, if I counted 6, but at least 4 times. And therefore, he has an unfair trial to start with, and therefore you can't, that's unreasonable, or what do they call it? It's a excessive punishment, essentially, to go after somebody when you've already prejudiced their case in their beginning. So you're going to kill somebody after you've already prejudiced everything. That's not fair. It's unreasonable punishment to go after somebody for death after you've already prejudiced the country and tell everybody he deserves death. So we're waiting for that to come out. That's what the big thing's waiting. And we're also waiting for one more thing. In the case of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, by the way, is looking for, and look at that, I didn't put my slides back on screen, and I'm talking about the slides and I didn't put it back on screen. We're going to go like that, and we're going to go like this. I'm going to get my collector crap together. So anyways, in Pennsylvania, there's still an issue about the arrest of Luigi Mangione, whether or not it was legal, whether or not he provided false identification to a police officer, and whether that warranted an arrest. And if it didn't, then can they take everything that was seized in his backpack, including the weapon, supposedly a confession letter, a manifesto, as the feds would call it, all those different things. All right, so those are the 5 cases. We'll do a deep dive on Mickey Steins, but I'm going to give everything me a chance to come on up to the screen. We're going to have a little conversation about Charlie Kirk and his feelings about the case and stuff like that, because I know some of those things, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of bring them up and have a little banter with them. So let me remove, let me do this. I'm going to add you to stage. I'm going to remove Robin from the stage, and I'm going to remove this from the stage. All right. And now I'm going to unmute your mic. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. And can I use your first name, or do you not want to go by your first name?
You can use my first name. Yes, sir.
All right, James, how you doing tonight? It's good to see you. As I've told everybody, you and I have had many conversations about Charlie Kirk, and I know that you have some great emotions about this case. I don't know where you want to start, if you want me to start saying some things, or if you want to start with your spiel, but I want to give you a shot, because like I said, you've earned the right. I'll be honest, you have confused the living piss out of me, right? Because you'll drop large sums of money supporting the channel and then say, stop talking. Oh my God, shut your mouth. And I'm like, which one is it? Are you dropping money on me or not shut my mouth? So why don't we start there, James, to explain you so that we can understand that.
Okay, so I want you to understand. Number 1, I agree with everything you have to say. Number 1, innocent until proven guilty. Tyler Robinson, Mangione, they're all innocent until proven guilty.
Good.
The problem,
I just want to go ahead.
The problem I have is the news media and social media distort so much stuff. It's crazy. I mean, why can't we let this go to trial? And I mean, I'm sorry. When it comes to first off, I want to say thank you for letting me on here tonight. I appreciate that.
You bet.
When it comes to Charlie Kirk, I don't want to get emotional, but I do have an emotional tie to this case. His family deserves respect, and people making judgments and coming up with scenarios of he's shot from the left, he's shot from the right, he's shot from the front, he's shot from the back. People do not understand what they are doing to this family. And I understand that you're looking for, I'm not trying to get emotional. I'm sorry. These are human beings. These are people. This is not just a case. You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's 1,000 people that get killed every single day in America, but there's not 1,000 people that are publicized in the news media, on social media, and this stuff is raked through the coals time and time. You can't even turn on TV without seeing something about this man. And what's really emotional about it is there's people that are in contact with this family, that are people that have a connection with this family. And it's like, seriously, he was shot from the back, he was shot from the front, he was shot from the right, he was shot from the left. He's dead. And he is shot for what reason? And but the problem I have is, let's go to trial. Why are we going through all this stuff already? Why don't we go to trial? Let the defense, let the prosecution put whatever. And I totally agree. Let Tyler have his chance.
So you
And I
make
want to
really
say
good.
this. I want to say
Right.
this. Thank you for putting me on here tonight. This happened like 30 or 45 minutes ago. I'm not prepared for this, but thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I love your channel, and I love what you do, and I love the the biggest thing I love about your channel is you dive deep. You don't take the surface stuff of some people that we talk about. Me and you've talked about them before. Thank you for diving deep. And like I said, if I'm ever in jail, you're my defense attorney.
Well, I would be happy to defend you regardless of whether you agree with me on all the issues. And I guess what I would want to counter, I mean, first of all, thank you for the emotional appeal and reminding people that yes, these are real people. They're going through hard times, and it's got to be difficult for them. On the other hand, you know where I stand. We've talked a little bit about this before, which is the media is not going to stop talking about it. And Tyler Robinson is going to be he's going to have a narrative put out there by the media that they're going to tell you everything about him and how you should feel about it before he has this trial. He will have that trial, but I would counter this. 93% of cases don't even go to trial because they plea before it goes to trial. And part of the reason why they plea is because they're already convicted in the court of public opinion before the trial ever begins, and the person figures, I have no chance of winning this because they've been convicted in the court of public opinion. And so
And that is
while
wrong.
I might agree,
And that is wrong. That is wrong.
Right. And while I might agree with you that wouldn't it be great if all of us would shut up until the trial happened and let the jurors decide for themselves, mainstream media is not going to stop talking about it. And so I feel, as my right as an American, and I know that you've got feelings about America and stuff like that as well, that my right as an American is to be able to say my piece. And especially if the media is going to tell their side of the story, I feel like I should ask questions. One of the things I feel bad about is the media used to hold people accountable, and they used to actually question the government, and they used to ask tough questions. The media has become soft. They become super soft, and they just tell whatever the government wants them to say. And I'm tired of that. So I'm trying to counter that a little bit by saying, you're not going to ask the tough questions, so I'll ask the tough questions.
Exactly. I totally agree. And I'm going to say this. I totally agree, but it is also from the left and the right. Both of them.
Yes.
They do not. If you have somebody from the right, Fox News, if you have somebody from the right questioning Trump, they will not push him. If you have somebody from the left pushing Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, they won't push them. Where is journalism? Where is I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Where
Fair and balanced,
Watergate.
maybe.
Fair
Yeah,
and balanced, Watergate. Where go hit them hard.
Right. Right. Well, and that's part of my point is that yeah, you're getting narratives on both sides, and both sides won't share anything, and that's why I view myself as doing my own role, which is I'm going to ask questions they won't ask. I want to bring up a comment somebody asked, and it's kind of directed to you, so I'm going to let you field it if you feel comfortable. How do you feel about Candace Owens, who's supposedly good friends with Kirk, and yet she's talking about a lot of conspiracy theories?
I love Candace. She is well. I've loved Candace for ever since I've been a Charlie Kirk supporter, uh, Turning Point USA for years. Do I agree with her pursuing the way she is? No, I don't. Why not? Here, my question is: by her doing what she's doing, all she is doing is adding another stick on the fire. Why can't we let the investigators investigate? Why can't we let people do their job? And the reason I I agree and I disagree with it is I don't trust the government. I promise you that. Just totally being honest. But there are there is truth that comes out of an investigation. And the more and more people pile on and ask this and ask that, and do this and do that, all it does is cause chaos. And I understand Candace. Candace Owens loves Charlie Kirk. That's the reason she is emotional about Charlie Kirk. But why in the world do people just keep going on and going on and talking about Erica?
I
I
let me let
understand.
me let me let me counter this, and let me ask you this. I'm gonna counter something and just ask you. So
Yes, sir.
you talked specifically, about the whole, some people are saying he was shot from the side, some people are shot from behind or whatever, and that irritates you. But let me ask you this. Kash Patel from the FBI literally said, we hear all of these things that are being said and we're looking into it. If everyone just rolled over and said, I'm just going to let the media tell me what happened, and didn't say, what about the shot from the left? What about the shot from behind? Whatever. Would Kash Patel have said, you know what? We hear you. We're looking into it. Or would they just said, you know what? Everybody bought the shit, so we're just going to shut up and tell them exactly what happened?
Um, Kash Patel is doing his job. Period. Left, right, center, up, down, whatever. Who cares? That's their job. My question to you is, what would you expect from him?
I guess what I'm saying,
I'm
and
serious. I might not understand what you're saying, but
right.
if I was Tyler Robinson and I'm putting myself in his position, please, Lord, have mercy that Kash Patel checks out every option there is. I don't know if I don't know if the front. I'm sorry. I don't know if the shot came from the front. I don't know if it came from wherever. But please don't just take one narrative that's out there in in the media or the internet or whatever it is. I mean, that's
This is
I'm just
let me
saying.
try to let me make an attempt to try to clarify my position, because it was something you said earlier. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. So I don't trust Kash Patel would have looked into all the angles if people hadn't already put it out there. If he hadn't
Okay,
if
stop,
we hadn't
stop,
have
stop,
forced his
stop,
hand.
stop, stop. I don't want to stop you. I think this is the first time I've ever stopped you. If you don't trust Kash Patel as the FBI director doing an investigation, then who do you trust? What are we going to do? Who's going to investigate it? And I have
That's why we're doing what we're
I have
doing.
and I have never ever interrupted you. Who are we going? Who are we, what are we going to throw our hands up and just be like, everybody's wrong? That's the problem I have, and that's the reason I get so emotional about this stuff. And I love you, brother. I love you. I totally understand what you're trying to do. But here's my question: are we going to throw our hands up every single time and say this is conspiracy theory? about every case we see. Idaho 4. Uh, the what's his name? And in he's up in your neck of the woods. They found him dead. I'm sorry.
Travis Decker.
Yeah, yes, sir. Everything. Are we going to throw our hands up every single time and say they're not telling us the truth? When we are at that point that we cannot trust, seriously, we can't trust what's being told us. We are, brother, we have more problems than we. If you can't trust the word, I understand you have to take the good and the bad, but, and I want to say this. I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to say this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk to you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I love your work. That's the reason I give so much money to you. I disagree with you about a lot of stuff. I disagree with Bertie about a lot of stuff. But thank you for having free speech, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You bet. You bet.
Like
And
like third,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, like I said, we've been pretty good with each other. And on camera, it's harder. Like when we were on the phone, it was very easy for both of us to be quiet while the other one spoke. And it was clear when we were right. But here there's a little delay. And so I end up walking on you and you walk on me. And I want people to understand that when, yeah,
Can I tell you a story? Which I think I
yeah,
already told you a story. I work for a nonprofit. I work for a donor that donated to uh, uh, Turning Point. And I really don't want to get emotional about this, but I was going through a divorce about 10 years ago, and I was a security guard, security, whatever, in my boss's office. And Charlie Kirk came in to make a pass, whatever, get money or whatever for my boss. And he helped me. He helped me. He put his hand, he didn't have to. He put his hand around my arm and said, I know you're going through a divorce. He talked to me for like 15, 20 minutes, which he didn't have to. But he put his hand around my shoulders and said, you take care of your son. That's all that matters.
yeah.
I want you to understand, and I want your audience to understand. This is not just a person. I'm sorry. This is not just a being that's out there that they see on TV. This man was a human being. And whether the shot came from the front, left, right, whatever, his wife is hurting. His kids are hurting. And every time that people, whether it be mainstream media or YouTube or whatever, go on here and come up with these whatever stuff they want to, y'all are hurting his family. I'm not saying you. I, I am saying you. I apologize, but it's that's what hurts me. And you know, I can go on here all the time and listen to all this stuff, but there, when you talk about cases, it's not just cases; it's people.
And I appreciate that. And I don't want to, what I don't want to do is go back and forth on the same points. So I appreciate what you're saying. And I hear everything you're saying. That's why I wanted you to have the opportunity to come on here and say your piece for yourself and make the appeal that these are real human beings. And so for that, I want to say thank you very much. I know you're not going to agree with things that I say. You're not going to agree with my summation of what I'm going to say, but I wanted to give you the respect. You've earned the right, and you've earned my respect in the conversation we had. So thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate that very much. And if you want to say any last piece before I wrap up, we're going to go ahead and dismiss us so that I can say my piece, because I don't want to get in a back and forth, but I want to be able to say my piece. But do you want to say anything else? Is there anything that's left unsaid that you want to say?
No, sir. And no, well, I do want to say this. You do great content. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Don't stop. Don't stop. And you do. You know what I find more informational about anything is when you go word by word by word through stuff. I find that more. I know people think it's dry. You it's dry, but you bring the stuff out and you keep at it, man. And I don't want you to get lost with somebody else. No comment, not saying that.
I,
But I
I
don't
hear
want
you.
you.
I hear you.
I don't want you to get lost. You do you, brother. You do you. You made your channel, and number one, you're not a small channel. Stop that stuff, dude. You, dude, you're not a small channel. I love you,
Right.
and I'm gonna be here for you.
Love you too, man. I really appreciate you. Like I said, I really respect you. We've had some really challenging conversations. One of the things that we've lost in America is to be able to disagree with each other in a respectful manner. So that we can do.
Agree to disagree, brother. If dude,
Yeah.
you're from the Northwest, I'm from the Southeast. We are totally different. But I love you. I love you. You're an American. I love you.
Yeah, thanks to you too. And I appreciate so much. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad you got a chance to say your piece. Hopefully you'll be able to live with me when I do my little summary of our conversation, but I do appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts with us. Appreciate it so much. All right. So, and then I make sure that Robin has her microphone. By the way, before I get into, are you there, Robin? Oh, can't unmute. What's going on? Oh, how about Robin now?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes. Yes. All right. So I just wanted to first of all, I wanted to say hi. I saw some people drop in here. I saw JJ from the State of the Deep that we got a show coming up on State of the Deep coming up. So JJ, thanks for dropping in tonight. Joe from State of the Deep, he goes by Joe. He also writes by JJ. So we kind of interchangeably call them both. I saw Murder Metal Mayhem, Pete Altieri drop into the room while I was here. So hey, Pete, I hope that you're still here. I don't know if you are. Thank you guys for coming in here. I just wanted to say hi to some of those people that I just kind of saw to the corner of my eye. If I missed anything there, by the way, Robin, let me know. As far as our discussion with Everything Me, it is a very, very challenging situation because as he stated in his own wording, we have to agree to disagree on some things. He does not like some of the ways that I present things, but at times he respects that I do the things that I do and tells me to keep doing it and don't stop, which is awfully confusing for me at the very beginning. It was like, don't say that, but you can say whatever you want. Don't say that, but keep speaking your truth. So I have to weigh that with a grain of salt and speak my truth and do what I do. At the end of the day, I feel like, and to answer his rhetorical question about what are we supposed to do if we've lost trust? I think I have lost trust in the government. I have lost trust in the media. I think they have failed us. That's my position. That's my truth. I feel that they have failed us. So I'm not going to, in my opinion, I'm not going to sit by and let people run the narrative that they want to run and convict people in the court of public opinion before they have trial. And we take the easy answer out and not question authority because authority has failed us, in my opinion. And that's my little soapbox rant. So I do appreciate, again, as an American, I believe that he's a soldier as well. I think he's fought for the country. And so he should believe in the same things that I believe. And I'm not going to say he doesn't, but I'm just saying freedom of speech is one of those things that I think we should both hold dear and true. And there's a fine line. There's a fine line, and we talked about this last time, between defamation of character and libel and slander and what is opinion. That can sometimes be a fine line. But unfortunately, a lot of people think that anytime you state an opinion, that you're slanderous or you're libel or you're defamation, and it's not true. We're allowed to speak our opinions in this country, and I feel like we should voice our opinions. I feel like that's my thing. I feel like we should, and we should hold government accountable, and we should make them look into things. And again, my point on the going back for a moment to the Kash Patel, my point I was trying to make is, if people hadn't been making it clear all over YouTube that we don't buy the bullshit. We do not buy the bullshit mainstream media is putting out there that it was this radical guy who leftist who shot a conservative, and it's the liberals waging war on the conservatives. A lot of people said horseshit. That doesn't look like what that is at all. And because people were raising questions, someone like Kash Patel has to say, well, we hear all of you saying that there's more to this. We'll look into it. At least that was something. We bought something. If we had all rolled over and said, yep, you're right, liberals just declared war on conservatives, that would be it. We would just have a dumb population who doesn't question authority, and that's not where I'm at. I do want to take a moment, by the way, to ask the audience in the chat how you felt about that conversation. One, do you like people to come up and challenge me on camera? Do you want to see more of that? Did you find it was beneficial? Did you think it was a waste of your time? I just want to kind of have some ideas on what you think about that conversation. I'll take a moment to just read comments if anything comes out. We won't spend too long if I don't have anything jump out at me. Robin, have you seen anything?
Not yet. But
Okay.
for myself, I thought it was great. I think it's always good to open up those lines of communication. So for me, I found it beneficial and definitely not a waste of time.
Good, good. I hope other people found that as well. I mean, I was always nervous. I'm always nervous to bring people up who I've never talked to before. But again, I've spoken to James before several times, and so we're starting to develop a relationship of sorts outside of this, the camera kind of thing. So he wasn't a complete stranger. Even though at the beginning of the night I said to you, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm willing to roll the dice and have a complete stranger come up on the microphone. So, anyways, let's move on with the show a little bit and get into what I was going to talk about, which is a little bit of a deep dive onto one of my cases. And that is the Mickey Steins case. And this may be tricky to do, but what I want to point out is a little bit of what I dove into this week on my long form videos. I had a two-parter that was and like James was saying when we had this talk, one of the things that I do, and I did it with Tyler Robinson, is I read Tyler Robinson and Charlie Kirk's case, his actual arraignment, right? The actual charges that were brought against him, what charges are being brought against him, and what is it? And we read that letter for letter, including the so-called text messages that he left on Discord or whatever to his partner, which, by the way, as we found out in the official court document, didn't match screenshots that were being shared all over the internet, right? And so that's case in point for me that the internet was running wild with all the things that Tyler Robinson supposedly said, and people were forming opinions in America. I can't believe he would say that, or they're running off a conspiracy that he didn't say that. And you're right. At the end of the day, he didn't say that. If you believe the court documents, because the court documents, the text messages that were in the court documents did not match what we were seeing on TV. So, or out there in the media. So that's why I read the legal documents. And we read a big legal document in this case that related to a deputy, Ben Fields, I believe it was, a deputy Ben Fields that was convicted in the state case of having intimate relations with prisoners, inmates who were in the judge's chambers where he would have relations with these inmates. And here's the part that bothered me so much about this story. They repeatedly, and I read the court documents in a two-parter, 2 hours of me talking about it, and they read repeatedly how these sexual acts that took place between a deputy and an inmate, more than one inmate, happened in the judge's chambers. And I said, isn't it funny that never in those documents did they say that the judge was present? They just said it happened in the judge's chambers. And I thought, how is it that they don't mention, they don't even clarify, was the judge there or not? How did the guy get access to the judge's chambers? How did this happen exactly in the judge's chambers without the judge knowing it's happening? Was he there? They never even asked. Well, yes, they did ask. And in fact, I believe they lied under oath, in my opinion. And they said, no, the judge knew nothing about it. He wasn't there. Why do I say it's a lie? Because I'm going to read you news stories where people have been interviewed and said, I saw sex tapes of the judge having sex with women in that same room with the deputy. I was there. I saw him do it. So you can say that person's lying, but it is an affidavit. It is given testimony that someone said, yeah, the judge was having sex with women in his chambers, and they probably lied. They probably lied on the stand and said, no, the judge had no idea this was going on. I personally say my ass because we'll look into that a little bit. So it's a crazy story. I'm gonna shut down this for a second. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna add a new thing to the stage, which is hopefully I'm gonna add stop the screen sharing, add, and I'm gonna add this, and I'm gonna add this particular file. This should have audio. What I'm gonna play for you. This should have audio, and look, it's our favorite person, Ashley Bamfield. We're going to listen to her do a little talk about something that happened in this case, because I'm going to accentuate it and I'm going to read you some stories that go along with it. Now, what I want to do is I unmute this, is I want you to listen. First, we're gonna just listen to her intro and then we're gonna listen to her intro, and I'm going to skip ahead to the meat of this thing. The reason I want you to listen to the intro is this story that she's going to read to us is all about Mickey Steins, the sheriff, shooting Judge Kevin Mullins in his courtroom. Why, for F's sake, then, does it start out with Luigi Mangione? Listen to this.
Justin Shepard, a digital journalist who's been on the story from the beginning. You know him online as Just in the Nick of Crime. Justin, I don't even know where to start. My stomach just heaves.
Of course, that's not the right link. Of course, I just freaking teased it, and of course, it's not the right link. Hold on a second. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And my back button isn't even there. Oh my God, that's horrible fail. It's the same. It's the video after this. How come I can't go back? Oh my God. Robin. Give me. Oops. I know. How did that happen? It's funny because I kept having to hit pause. I had to hit pause on the video over and over again because it kept trying to play, and now it's moved on to the second story. And look, it's even got the right title. Kentucky sheriff allegedly shot. This is the right. Oh my gosh. But this title here, the child allegedly forced in the stepdad thing, is not the story that goes with this freaking. Okay, hold on. Reload. Give me a second. Oh yeah. I think I got it. I hope I got it. All right, let's put it back on screen. I had to refresh the page to get it past there. And we're gonna watch Humpty Dumpty for a second, and then I'm gonna wow, what an epic fail! Can you hear the sound on the commercial?
Or a store near you.
So what I just said, boys.
Okay.
You all.
It's been almost a year since the now former Letcher County sheriff did this. Emptied his service weapon into a sitting judge who was literally sitting in his chambers.
Oh my God, Becky. Okay, fail. I fail because again, what she did start out with is the video I'm not apparently about with playing was it's been almost a year since Luigi Mangione shot Brian Thompson. And now we're talking about this case. And it's like, what the hell did that have anything to do with this case? And unfortunately, the place I want to play for you is also not going to be in this freaking video because I don't know what the hell happened to that video. Oh my God. In the video was literally a clip. I can't believe this just happened to me. I've had it all night long queued up, ready to go for you guys. And then it changes the story and I can't get back to the actual story in which a woman talks about on audio to a detective who's interviewing her about seeing the judge have sex with inmates in his chambers and how she watched the tapes herself. She'd seen it. He'd done things to her. All that stuff was on audio and I was going to play a clip of it, but freaking unfreaking real. Hold on. Can I get it up for you? Never do this. Never do that. Okay. Hold on 1 second. We got time. Audio of Judge Mullins sex tape. Let's see if that pulls it up. Random
Turning our
Court
attention
TV.
now to the state of Kentucky, where
Can you hear the sound?
you know,
Oh, good. I found it. I found it by accident.
What kind of
he does have
Mullins was involved as
All right. So you can hear the audio?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I found it by pure random chance. Well, not random chance, by searching on the internet and doing Google foo. So here, let's see if we can catch this.
well.
he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers,
what kind of stuff?
just with girls sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, you know, just him having sex with girls for the able to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and
You saw the video.
yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean, you
I mean, I've seen Judge Mullins have sex with a girl.
who was the girl?
I don't know, because I don't know a lot of people from up
Where was it at?
in his office in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge's chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
So that is an account of, and let me put myself on screen again, of a person who claims that they saw Judge Mullins having sex with women in the same place that Ben Fields, who was convicted in the state case, having sex with inmates. And he would literally, what happened, here's how the scam worked. Ben Fields, a deputy for the sheriff's department, was working at the correctional facility. And what he would do was he would make deals for women that were on house arrest. So they would be able to go home with an ankle bracelet. That cost them money to the tune of $85 a week, I believe. And some of these girls who don't have jobs were basically then saying, well, I want to be out of jail because the jail is a horrible place to be and it's dangerous in there, but I can't afford my ankle bracelet. And in comes Cavalier Ben Fields to say, here, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll take the ankle bracelet off, but we'll leave it at the courtroom. You can go home, but all you have to do is bend over the judge's desk for me, essentially. So that's what happened. There was sexual favors being exchanged for having their ankle monitor taken off. When the women would come back for a court case, they would just simply take her to the judge's chamber, put the ankle monitor back on her, walk her into the courtroom so it looked like she had always been on her ankle monitor. When she got done with her court appearance, she would go back to the judge's chambers, take the ankle monitor off, and go home. And that was the situation. It was like women were literally being checked out like library books by inmate or by prison guards as well. All kinds of allegations. And here's the thing. More and more stories are coming out that this was a known thing in the county. Everyone knew it was going on and everyone was afraid to say anything because you can't cross these people because they're cops. They're judges. They've got the system rigged. They said literally, let me see if I can find some of these articles for you. I'm going to bring up on the screen now, remove this and add. Stop screen share, add screen share. I got to get better at all my transitions. I'm working on that stuff. Let's go the whole screen and let's do this. Add to stage. All right. Now this article was basically saying the same thing we just saw. Here's an article: civil suit exposes sexual exploit in Letcher County courts. I'm going to blow this up bigger on screen so we can get a better shot at it. It's been over 1 year since former Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins was accused of shooting and killing District Judge Kevin Mullins inside his chambers. Just 3 days before the Sheriff Steins allegedly murdered Mullins, he gave a deposition in a civil suit. The sheriff, 3 days before he killed the judge in his chambers, had given a deposition in the trial of Ben Fields, one of his deputies, who was allegedly forcing women to have, coercing, maybe is a better word, coercing women to have sexual relations with him in the judge's chambers with, I would say, I'm going to add, it's an opinion because it hasn't been proven in a court of law, with the knowledge of the judge in his judge's chambers. This can't in my mind, it's my opinion, can't in my mind possibly have gone under the radar of the judge. Like he doesn't know that women are being brought into his chambers to have sex in his chambers. And by the way, the allegations are that the judge and the law enforcement was having sex parties and exchanging girls from the inmate system. That was a common thing that everyone knew about in this county. Now, this is one of the things that I thought was interesting. The world has changed. I have never hardly had any female clients, and I'd say most of my caseload is women on drug charges. That's what's going on in Appalachian courtrooms today. This individual said. What this person's basically getting at is there has been a rash, an epidemic of women in particular being charged of drug crimes all of a sudden in this county. Why? Because if they get women in on drug charges, they can then pimp them out in the system. That is literally what's happening. This person is alleging more and more women are being charged with phony drug charges to get them into the system so that they can then be blackmailed or coerced into giving up relations to get in house arrest, to get out of the prison system. And by the way, in Ben Stein's case, literally when a woman decided to stop playing ball and have sex with them, he called and had her arrested. After he took her ankle monitor off her, then he called her into saying, hey, she's off her ankle monitor, and had her arrested and put back in jail because she wouldn't play ball. It's disgusting. Now that person, Ben Fields, is still on trial in the federal government. Hear this out. He's still on trial in the federal government. Mickey Steins, Sheriff Steins, was deposed and spoke about one of his underlings who's doing all this. Mickey Steins, by the way, also had that job prior to Ben Fields having the job as this correctional person that oversees women from that was Mickey Steins' job. He recommended Ben Fields for the job because he had done it himself. That does not mean, hear me out, that does not mean Mickey Steins was doing the same thing as Ben Fields, but it's things that make you go, So he recommended Ben Fields for the job, and then Ben Fields did this, and then Mickey Steins was deposed in the case against Ben Stein, in part to ask, did you train your deputy not to do these things? Well, I believe we do have, rules against sexual misconduct in our law enforcement documents. Yes. So it was a stupid thing to be deposed on because they basically were asking him to prove that the officer should have known better. Like he doesn't know that it was inappropriate to coerce women into sexual favors to stay off of ankle monitors because they can't pay their bills. So they literally had Mickey Steins come in for that. But here's where it gets crazy and what may have led to the judge being shot. According to Mickey Steins' attorney, who is claiming, by the way, that Mickey Steins lost his mind and is insane and is having mental health issues, that Sheriff Steins believed that he was being threatened and his family was being threatened for testifying against the deputy in that case because, and the attorney didn't say this, I'm reading into it, because that case is ongoing and because Steins had already been deposed, he can be brought back on that case. And what more will Mickey Steins say under oath about the judge and what was going on in the judge's chambers and what his deputy's doing? And so somebody, according to the attorney, told Mickey Steins, you shut your effing mouth or we're going to hurt your family. And he lost his shit and he gunned down the judge in his chambers. So now that's one theory. Another theory is, and this was the first theory that really kind of jumped out at me, was in the judge's chambers before Mickey Steins shoots the judge. He sits down and it looks like they're having a conversation. Mickey Steins goes through his phone and he's looking for contacts and he finds a phone number and he places a phone call and nobody answers. Then he asks for the judge's phone. He looks for a phone number. He places a call. Somebody does answer it, I think. That's what it looked like. And then he stands up and he shoots the judge. The person he was trying to call was his daughter. So then you follow the logic. Mickey Steins tries to call his daughter from his own phone. She won't answer. He calls from the judge's phone and his daughter answers and he loses his shit. Well, if Mickey Steins knows what's going on in that courthouse and he knows that women are being run through that area and he knows that sex parties are a normal thing that happens, he might want to have a question. Why is my freaking daughter's phone number in your phone, sir? Now, according to the family, the wife and the daughter, they say that nobody called them. They didn't get a call. But again, people are terrified to talk in this case because people were told to shut their mouth is what some people are saying. So is it as simple? Is it as simple? You saw him pull the trigger. He killed that judge. End of story. Is it? Or do we need to ask tougher questions? And to our previous conversation, will the media ask those tougher questions? That's my question. Atkins. So Sabrina Atkins is the one who brought the charge against Ben Fields, saying that she was sodomized in the judge's chamber by a deputy and taken off her ankle bracelet. Sabrina Atkins' testimony led to the prison sentence for Ben Fields. He ran the county's home detention center. Atkins testified that that the system puts women at risk of sexual exploitation. By the way, if you listen to my long form document, the reading of the court document, you will find out that Ben Fields is blaming Sabrina for what happened. Here's how he's blaming her. Hey, when Sabrina got into prison for her drug charges, other female inmates told her that I was willing to make deals for sexual favors. And she came to me and approached me and said, hey, I heard you're willing to work a deal. So can I get that deal? And Ben Fields in his defense had the audacity to act like that was a good defense. Hey, she came to me. She asked for a deal. And he argued she continued to text him for 6 months, flirting with him. So therefore she must like him. Or she knows that he can provide something and she has no other way to pay her bills. And so the prosecution argued she was coerced. Ultimately, thank God, the judge and the courthouse in that court system, I should say, the court system decided that Ben Fields was guilty of coercion and didn't buy his story that she disliked me and she came to me and it was all her idea. The reality is, continuing with this argument, the reality is the courts are flooded with women on drugs, and often the only way to get them out of jail is an ankle bracelet. And these women are so easily subjected to sexual extortion. Can't even say anything. Atkins alleged, so Sabrina Atkins alleged that she couldn't afford to pay the $85 a week. The lawsuit alleges this happened inside Mullins' chamber for 6 months. It accuses Steins of deliberate indifference and failing to adequately train and supervise. The reality is, if you're a woman on an ankle bracelet and you have a drug charge, you know a simple phone call to the judge that you violated some term and you're back in jail. And these women know that they won't be believed. So that's kind of that. And I wanted to give more time for interaction with people, and I'm not. I'm starting to get into that whole ranting and raving thing. I've got more to read. Let me stop for a moment and let me ask you not a rhetorical question, because I want a real answer. Now, let me ask you, is it plain as day what happened? That guy shot that guy. He's a murderer, and that's the end of story, and we don't need to ask deeper questions. Is that how you feel about that case? No need to ask deeper questions. It's an open and shut case. That guy shot that guy, murderer, go to jail. Or do we want to hear Mickey Stein's story? I want to know one. Is it a murder? Is it a murder flat out, end of story? Don't need to have much thinking about it. It's on camera. It's caught. or 2, you'd like some more questions and investigation. I'm just curious where people stand who watch my show. Look, everybody's afraid to vote. Vote. Say something. Say something. Let me know. I'm not out there by myself. Either my feed froze or people are terrified. Amanda B, thank you very much, would like to know more about the story, not maybe so simple as an open and shut case. Robin, thank you. I can count on you. You're a moderator. You'd get fired if you didn't. So thank you for doing that. Just kidding. Anybody else? 1-1, good. 1-1 as an officer of the law would like to hear more about that. That's a good thing. Thank you very much. Anything else? I just want to get it. See, I mean, so far nobody's given me a 1. A simple murder. Simple murder. Pete Altieri from Murder Metal Mayhem says, yeah, I have more questions for sure. For me, Twine and Two Cans also said same thing. Not simple, not as simple, sir, as first degree murder. Jay Campbell as well. Want more questions asked. I'm going to be asking those questions. Back to that conversation we had earlier. Why do you not just wait for the trial, Lee? This is a good example why we don't just wait for the trial. Will the justice system serve us, or will they just throw Mickey Steins in jail for murder and call it good? That's what I want to know. I have a little bit more. By the way, things that make you go, Ben Fields had a lawsuit brought against him by 2 women, Sabrina Atkins and Jennifer Hill. Jennifer Hill's dead. She died during this trial. They don't tell us why she died. Every report says she has passed away. No indication how she died. Do you have questions, or is it just me? Is it just me? Am I the only one who doesn't like the answer 1 line? By the way, the lawsuit by Jennifer Hill's been dropped because she died. Is that good enough for you? Or do you have questions about why people are dying in this case? Why witnesses are dying? Why judges in the case are dying? Do you have questions, or is it just a simple open and shut murder case? I have questions. So here's a comment about from one of these. This is one of the alleged victims, of this whole racket. I wanted to find out where I want to start this. Nextstar's News Nation spoke with Taya Adams, who said that she knew Mullins through her past work as an assistant Commonwealth attorney. Commonwealth attorney knows the judge. I know the judge. I'm an attorney. I know the judge. That's when he started introducing me to his friends, Adams told News Nation. The judge introduces this attorney to his friends. And we would do sex parties and perform shows and have sex with them for money, things like that. Although she said that what happened with her was consensual, she volunteered to be part of the sex parties. She felt pressured to go along with it and couldn't say no. That's what we call coercion in this country. When you feel like you're coerced because you don't really have a choice. So of course, the bad guy's always going to say, hey, you did this on your own. Nobody held a gun to your head. No, you were coerced because of positions of power, because judges and officers will throw you in jail and throw the book at you, and a judge will sign off on it and you will just go to jail. So you've been coerced. They don't have to put a gun to your head. You know who holds all the power. Who are they going to believe? A law-abiding citizen like an officer, or your drug ass who got a drug charge just recently? It's a rigged system. It was consensual. Why do I have it so small for you guys? Let's blow it up on screen so you can see it a bit better. It was consensual, but it was the thing that we were so young and they used it against us and to destroy our lives. And later with the legal system and CPS systematically removing our whole life piece by piece, Adam said. He's the one with the power. He holds my entire life in his hands. He's the one who makes the decision over whether I get to keep my children or not. He's the one that makes the decision whether I go to jail. When asked if she was told to keep it under wraps, Adam says it was given. Of course we're supposed to keep it under wraps. Nobody has to tell us to keep it under wraps. He's a freaking judge. And he has the law on his side. You think he's not going to just throw us in jail? He doesn't have to threaten me. He doesn't have to say a thing. It's understood. You play ball. Oh, well, she consented. Nobody put a gun to her head. Who would believe it anyway, she said, because the whole town's doing it. The whole town's doing it. You know, nobody cares. They're all swingers. It's all a big party to them. It's just like so normal, she said. Mullins' involvement with the sex ring allegedly hosted in his quarters So here's somebody saying sex parties and a sex ring took place in the judge's chambers. And again, for Ben Steins, never was it mentioned the judge was there. This happened in the judge's chambers. Is that correct? Yeah. Is there not a follow-on question? Was the judge present? No, we didn't even ask. Didn't even ask. Later on, somebody says, hey, by the way, was the judge there? To our knowledge, he wasn't there. I would say my ass. On December 6th, News Nation released audio recordings. We heard that obtained from Fields' criminal investigation. And the woman in the recording, Sabrina Atkins, was the one of the women who filed the lawsuit. He does have some videotapes, some stuff in the judge's chambers, just with girls. Remember, that woman went under oath. This wasn't just some random thing. That woman went under oath, suing Ben Fields and the department and everyone, the judges, everything, and said under oath, yeah, I saw the judge having sex with women in his courtroom. That's where they sexually abused me. That's where I was forced into doing things to get off my ACL monitor. That's where it happened. Those tapes allegedly depict Ben Fields and just some higher ups engaging in sexual conduct with victims in Mullen's chambers. According to Atkins, when asked to clarify who the higher ups were, she explicitly said the judge. I've seen Judge Mullen having sex with girls, she said. You know, you heard all this stuff yourself. So that's basically what I wanted to give as a deep dive. If you don't know the case, get interested in the case. Go watch my 2-part video that I just put out this week. Actually, yes, only part 1 is out. Part 2 goes public tomorrow. Members only get a free look at the public release tomorrow for part 2. So part 1 is out there for free. You can catch it for free. Tomorrow, I think around 11 Pacific Standard Time, part 2 goes out for free. You can watch that for free. Or if you can't wait to get to the juicy stuff, then sign up for $2.99 to the membership plan and get all my unlimited freaking, not unlimited because it's limited to how many videos I do, but all of my content that I do for members only. A lot of times I give free looks to videos ahead of time, just like this. All right, so let's go back to removing this from stage. Robin, do we have any questions while I'm loading up my slideshow again?
Everything me dropped another present here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Holy piss balls. Dude. I can't. Love you, brother, man. You helped. I mean, I want to do you right. I want to give you your piece on the camera. That's a lot of support and love, man. That's a lot of support and love. So that's difficult. And I know even more, by the way, let me just sing his praises a little bit, even more. This man is doing this despite the fact that he does not agree with everything I say. And he's very vocal about telling you he doesn't agree with everything I say and that he disagrees. Agree to disagree is what he said. He does that and still supports this channel. That is respect. Thank you so much for that. Huge support to the channel. All right. Any other comments before I put something back up? All right. Legal briefs. I just thought it'd be fun to do a few little things at the end. So we did an overview of all the cases that I cover. By the way, this format may be changing again a little bit, and I'm going to tell you about that real quick before I finish these last couple of segments. One, I'm not a live guy, right? So I'm a long form video guy. I read legal documents. I have attorneys on the thing. We talk about the legal issues. We break down the law. I read police reports. I do deep dives and I read books, literally books, chapter after chapter. And I try to explain it in plain English, what those chapters mean and how it informs the stories that I'm covering, right? So that's what I do. That's my shtick. I go live and nobody shows up. And I'm not whining and complaining. What I'm saying is I'm not a live kind of guy. Now I'm making steps in the right direction to try to punch up some graphics and make things a little bit better. But I'm beginning to wonder, like, if I'm putting, the 80-20 rule, like 80% of your rewards come from 20% of your effort. My effort of long form videos is where all the growth happens on this channel. It's not from lives. Other people that I know, and we don't need to name names, other people I know, all of their growth practically comes from lives only, and they don't do well in long form videos. So it's just a different kind of channel. We're different. This channel is different and my audience is different. So we're not going to try to do everything that other people do because this is what I do well. So because of that, we might drop down to only 1 live a week, maybe 2, because Birdie is going to be hard to get away from. Birdie and I have a great relationship and people like to just hear us banter. It's not going to be deep dive stuff like we're doing here, but it will be banter and it'll be fun and we will talk about cases. And so I expect to talk to Birdie on Mondays still. And Birdie and I have a thing that outside of this where we talk on a regular basis about stuff. I might be going to a Saturday only show just once a week. That way, because I know, and again, not whining, but some of you are like, I have a real conflict of interest. I don't know whether to watch you or Birdie because you're on at the same time. And I have to decide which one of you I like better. You know what he is? He's a live specialist. I'm not so much a live specialist. So I might drop down to one a week. That way, 6 days out of the week, you can watch whoever you want. And one day a week, maybe you can say, you know what? I haven't seen DA for a week. Maybe I'm going to give him one day. So we'll see if we can do that. That's kind of something I'm working on. It may become our Saturday show. Let's see. Is there anybody else, by the way, who has comments about stuff or maybe even wants to jump on the microphone? I can do something for a minute, but I wanted to, while I'm waiting to see, and by the way, let me know, Robin, if somebody wants to jump on. Let me go through and cover. Oh, I didn't even get to do this. So jurisdiction and venue. I wanted to talk about this briefly because it happened in the Idaho 4 case and it happened in Mickey Stein's case as well, or it's being discussed in Mickey Stein's case. And that is, do you understand, and this is something that I like to do, do you understand the difference between jurisdiction and venue? The jurisdiction, for example, when a person commits a crime, that county's district attorney typically has the jurisdiction to prosecute that case. So, for example, in Idaho, where that happened, Ada County, was it Ada that was in that county? I'm trying to, anyways, so the county where that happened is the one that's allowed to prosecute it. But in that case in Idaho 4, there was an argument made that Brian Koberger couldn't get a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho. And so they moved it to another county in the state of Idaho, and therefore they changed the venue. But when they changed the venue, the same prosecutors from Idaho are going to be prosecuting it in another county and another courthouse in the state. And that is the difference between jurisdiction and venue. The jurisdiction will stay the same. The person who has the prosecutor that started the case, they have jurisdiction. And it happens again now in Mickey Stein's case, if it happens that somebody argues this trial will not be fair to have it where it happened, then they might change the venue. Now, here's an interesting case on Mickey Stein's case. The person who's arguing to move the trial, I believe, is the prosecution. Yes, the prosecution in this case, I believe, is trying to move the trial out of the local jurisdiction and county. Reason being is that they argue Mickey Stein's and the judge were literally voted on by people. People know these guys very, very well, and they voted for them. Therefore, the jury pool is tainted. They might literally like Mickey Stein's and just think he's a great guy because they voted for him and will refuse to convict or throw the book at him. And so they're like, we should move this because, and it's usually the other way around. Usually it's the defense saying it's unfair. And in fact, oddly enough, in this case, the defense says, no, we want the trial to stay right where it's at. A jury of his peers. His peers are from this county. Let it happen in this county. So it's super weird to me. This is the reason why it was on my list to talk to you about jurisdiction versus venue, because usually I think it's the other way around. Usually the defense is like, this guy can't get a fair trial where it's at. Let's move it out of this place. And here you have the prosecutor saying it's not fair because people voted for the judge and the sheriff. We need to move it away from here. And the defense is like, no, he should be right where he's at, a jury of his peers. Super interesting, in my opinion. All right, Mailbag. Now this is where Everything Me should shut off his computer so he has no regrets for what's happened. I'm going to give you a piece of mail that I received and talk about it in the conspiracy theory around Charlie Kirk. And I know right now, freaking Everything Me is probably throwing his computer across the room right now. But here's what I got on a comment. Will you discuss Charlie being a 32nd degree master Mason, and can one be that advanced in Freemasonry and be a true believer? It may explain his success. Now, where I want to go with this is to say this. There's a reason why I don't touch these kind of comments with the 10-foot pole. And so I just want to accentuate why I don't touch them with the 10-foot pole. Yeah, there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there. I will tell you this. When I saw this comment, I decided to just look up whether or not there's any evidence whatsoever Charlie Kirk is a Freemason. I can't find anything. And that's not necessarily uncommon, although a lot of Masonic lodges do have their membership published somewhere where you can see. But I can't even find anything that says he's a Mason. And what bothers me the most about it is people are making judgments. It becomes religious for them. You can't be a Christian if you're a Mason. So that becomes the argument and all these things like that. And that's why I kind of stay out of it. And the Charlie Kirk thing, this is why it got even crazier. The conspiracy, again, everything me, man, you need to just turn off the computer and walk away. I'm going to be fair with this. This is what people are bitching about now. Erica Kirk has a G on her ring. She must be a Mason. Charlie must be a Mason. This is proof definitive. And then there's the mysterious ring that Charlie Kirk had that jumped fingers, they said, showing that this whole thing's a hoax. So there's two conspiracies for you. So at the end of the day, this is what I want to tell you. When I talk about things, and I didn't just talk about that, I just want to bring it as an example. When I talk about things, I try to vet them before I open my mouth. There's a reason why I don't jump on that stuff. If I thought it was pertinent, I would tell you. But here's the difficulty. Sometimes I get invited on other people's shows and they might be like, hey, what do you think about that? And I'm like, I think don't ask me that on camera. That's what I think. Don't ask me that shit on camera because I don't want to talk about it. Because one, I haven't vetted it. Two, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So I just wanted to kind of, throw that out there about things that are out there in the wind. There are so many. I literally did a video on the top 10 theories at the time of Charlie Kirk's assassination, ranging from everything. It was a projector. He wasn't really there. It's a psyop. He didn't die. It's stuff that makes everything me lose his mind. Right. And I covered it. Like, here's what they're saying. And that's what I do. Here's what they're saying. That doesn't mean I'm giving credence or weight to it. Although I will tell you my feelings about things. And the last thing, and this is not terribly funny, but I had to try to at least make a room for it. When one of your friends are into true crime, or none of your friends are into true crime, a great deal of my thoughts are basically unshareable with anyone. That's the way I feel with you guys a lot of times. I can't even speak my mind half the time. A lot of stuff, and it's funny because I believe in being true to myself, and I will, when you hear me say something, I'm being true to myself. But I hold my tongue a lot. So what you do hear me say, and I'm going to have a small soapbox. My number one pet peeve. I am sick and tired of people telling me I'm doing shit for clickbait. I don't do shit for clickbait. If I'm talking about it, it's because it means something to me. That's me. And I hold my tongue on all kinds of shit. I could run with any of those crazy conspiracy theories. I could run with it if I was looking for clickbait, but I don't. That's my defense. Now, if you disagree and you think I'm clickbaiting people, that's a different discussion we can have. But in my defense, my number one pet peeve is people who tell me that I'm clickbaiting. So, Robin, I need to get off my soapbox. I just turned the funny, lighter side into a very serious side. What do we have? Anything left on the way out?
Chappie Boss, I'm not sure if he's still here. He was dropping a gift there to you. Always good to see Chappie.
I don't know if I want to read it out loud, but I'm doing it again.
It's hysterical.
I was just in the bathroom and had a mistrial. And that's why we do read his stuff cold on screen.
That's right. That's right.
All right. What else? Somebody said, question. This is from Everything Me, and I told Everything Me, man, you should walk away. But Everything Me says, is Charlie Kirk a public figure? Ali said no. I don't think. See, this is what's comprehension skills is really difficult. I would have to go back and watch what Ali said. I don't believe what she said was he wasn't a public figure. I think what she might have said was he wasn't a government figure. But maybe I misheard her. But
no, she said political.
A political figure, right? Which is different than a public figure.
He's not an elected official. He wasn't elected.
And there's no question Charlie Kirk is a public figure because everybody sees him all the time. So I'm not sure if that was taken in context. So I just wanted to put that up on the screen and make sure. Anything else here? That laugh was kind of evil.
Well, I was looking at one's comment about.
All right, here's the deal. I feel like I'm getting out relatively unscathed. Let's call it good for the night. Friday night, it's into the weekend. Enjoy yourself. I told you that I was thinking about moving the show to being Saturday only, but we won't do it this Saturday because I just did this Friday. So if we move to the new format, here's what you can probably expect. You will see me probably on Monday with Birdie. You won't see me the rest of the week until Saturday. And then you'll see me on Saturday. That's where I'm tentatively going. Now, keep in mind, I have guests like Ali Benevento and Sean Kent, her friend, who might be coming on. And when they do, I might want to do that live. Maybe we'll do it as a pre-record. Nothing's out of question. So if I confuse you with my schedule, it's because I'm trying to figure this shit out myself. But right now, I'm inclined to say my lives aren't really terribly well attended anyways. And most of my shit's long form. So on that note, please like, subscribe, go look at a playlist of your favorite choosing. I've got 5 cases that I have followed a ton, right? Or Idaho 4, a lot of videos on there. Not a lot of new stuff, but a lot of it, a ton of videos. And by the way, one of my most reoccurring videos right now on my channel is Idaho 4 stuff. People are going back and watching my old videos and going, holy crap, I can't believe you said this. And it was freaking months ago. And they're watching it for the first time. That's part of what happens when your channel starts getting pushed to a larger audience. People are finding my older videos for the first time. Anyways, so there's that. There's the Lisk case, a whole playlist, great shit on there. Interview with John Ray. There's, Luigi Mangione, one of the first cases I started with, tons of videos on that, including attorneys talking about that. It's good stuff. If I do say so myself, the channel's got some good stuff. Check us out. And last thing, I also do book series. I read books. We're right now reading One Nation Under Blackmail and how that might inform what's happening in a lot of things in this country, especially I just said Charlie Epstein. Holy shit. Why can I not get that done? So Jeffrey Epstein and Charlie Kirk's situation. I cannot stop conflating that name. That's it, people. I think I'm out. Thank you so much for coming and being part of the show tonight. Hope you liked the new format a little bit. Sorry I did not do what I really want to do, is that interact with people more, and I didn't. I suck at interacting. That's why I'm not a live specialist. Anyways, I'm done with the rant. Thank you, Robin, for helping out tonight. Thank you, Everything Me, again, for coming on. Not only coming on, but dropping, I think he dropped 2 at the front, 200 at the front and 200 in the middle. Like, holy crap. Anyways, I can probably retire. I think everything, maybe I'm just going to retire. I think I'm done now. Anyways, thank you so much for the support. I know that means a lot when you don't agree with everything that's said on this channel. Everyone have a great evening, a great weekend. Have a good one.